Chosen ones, congratulations, the verdict just came down from Heaven's Supreme Court, and it's final. That hell you walked through, that season that nearly broke you, the ruling is absolute. You will never ever have to go through that again. The case is closed, sealed, and cannot be reopened. No appeals, no retrials, no loopholes. What you survived has been officially declared complete, and the legal documents have been filed in dimensions your enemies can't even access. The subscription service to your suffering has been permanently cancelled, and here's the plot twist. You were never the customer, you were the virus that corrupted their entire system from the inside out. Let me tell you what really happened while you thought you were barely surviving. Hell's entire business model just collapsed because of one chosen one. You proved their most sophisticated program was built on lies. That nightmare season you just exited wasn't random chaos. It was your final examination for cosmic authority, an exam most souls never survive. Every attack came in a calculated sequence. Every betrayal was precision timed to maximize damage. Every loss was strategically placed to break your will at the exact moment when statistics say people surrender their destiny. This wasn't just spiritual warfare. This was systematic annihilation designed to create an unbreakable loop of defeat that would replicate through your bloodline for generations. The enemy operates like a virus, running the same destructive patterns on repeat, because they work on almost everyone. Abandonment, financial ruin, relationship destruction, health crisis. These are their greatest hits, their proven formula for breaking chosen ones. They were so confident in their methodology that they invested everything in your destruction. They never considered that some spirits are built differently. They never imagined that their foolproof system would encounter someone who was destined to be the proof of its failure. There was a specific moment calculated down to the second where you were supposed to shatter permanently. The enemy had spreadsheets, algorithms, predictive models, all pointing to that exact breaking point. But when that moment arrived, something unprecedented happened. Instead of breaking, you compressed into something denser, harder, more resilient. You became a spiritual diamond where they expected to find dust. That refusal to comply didn't just save you. It introduced a virus into their operating system that began corrupting every program they were running against chosen ones worldwide. Your survival at that crucial junction created a system error that cascaded through their entire network. Suddenly, their intelligence was failing, their timing was off, their human agents were making mistakes, their spiritual principalities were losing coordination. The collapse wasn't limited to the forces attacking you. It affected their entire operational structure globally. Your refusal to break when breaking was guaranteed has become their permanent haunting, a glitch in their matrix they can't debug. But here's what you need to understand about the weight you were carrying. Your pain had a quality that didn't belong to just your lifetime. You were processing generational debts that had been accumulating compound interest for decades, maybe centuries. Bloodlines don't just pass down DNA and last names. They transfer unhealed wounds, unfinished battles, and cycles of destruction that get heavier with each generation that fails to break them. You were chosen to be the circuit breaker, the one designated to carry the full electrical load of generational dysfunction and survive the surge. This explains why your suffering felt disproportionate to your actual mistakes or choices. You weren't just fighting your own demons, you were standing as the representative for everyone who shares your bloodline, both the ancestors who couldn't overcome and the descendants who won't have to try. When a chosen one successfully bears this ancestral weight without breaking, something miraculous happens. The bloodline gets completely reset. The curses lose their legal standing in the spiritual court system. The patterns that regenerated through generations suddenly can't find their next host. While you were enduring what felt like eternal torture, something remarkable was happening at the cellular level of your being. Most people who survive trauma carry it as permanent scar tissue that defines their limitations forever. But chosen ones metabolize pain differently. Your spiritual DNA was automatically converting poison into medicine, weakness into authority, wounds into wisdom that can't be learned any other way. Every betrayal that should have made you bitter instead gave you supernatural discernment. Every loss that should have made you fearful instead revealed reserves of faith that shocked heaven's angels. Every attack that should have weakened you instead exposed strength that you didn't know existed in human form. The enemy made a fatal error. They invested enormous resources trying to break you with specific forms of suffering, never realizing your spiritual metabolism would transmute their weapons into your arsenal. They essentially paid for your upgrade. They funded your transformation. They sponsored your elevation. They spent their premium ammunition to forge your impenetrable armor. They exhausted their best strategies to perfect your defensive systems. They thought they were destroying you, but they were actually preparing you for a level of authority they can't even comprehend. The intensity you experienced near the end wasn't them winning, it was desperation. The enemy realized they were running out of time and ammunition. Their window of opportunity was closing rapidly, so they deployed everything simultaneously in one last coordinated assault to destroy you before you could fully understand what you were becoming. Hell literally emptied its armory on you. Every demon that held a grudge against your calling was given clearance to attack. Every human agent in their network was activated against you. Every systemic force they had influence over was redirected toward your annihilation. The reason it felt like war without relief was because it essentially was. You were experiencing the concentrated fury of an entire kingdom that knew its dominance was ending. They understood something about cosmic timing that most humans never learn. There are seasons when chosen ones are vulnerable to total destruction, and there are seasons when they become untouchable. Your dark season was their final window, and they knew that if they failed to break you then, they would never get another chance. Not in this lifetime, not in any dimension, not in any timeline, but they made a fatal miscalculation about the source of your strength. They were fighting with finite resources against an infinite power supply. Every weapon they deployed was met by grace that multiplied to match the intensity. Every strategy they executed was countered by wisdom that expanded beyond human capacity. Every attack they launched was absorbed by a love that couldn't be exhausted. While they were burning through their reserves trying to destroy you, you were ascending to frequencies where their weapons couldn't even lock onto you as a target. This elevation wasn't something you consciously achieved through meditation or spiritual practices. It was the automatic result of surviving pressure that transforms spiritual DNA. Like carbon becoming diamond under extreme pressure, your endurance literally rewrote the laws governing what could touch you. The same voices that once devastated you with a whisper now sound like static from a broken radio you can barely receive. The same fears that once paralyzed you can't even find your new frequency. You've been relocated to a dimension they don't have clearance to enter. Your survival activated something ancient in the spiritual realm that most humans never trigger. Divine immunity. Not the kind you hope for or pray for, but the kind that becomes embedded in your cellular structure. Your spirit began producing antibodies against the specific forms of suffering that once destroyed your peace. Now your inner alarm system detects manipulation before the manipulator has even finished forming their strategy. You sense toxic energy before it can contaminate your environment. You recognize deception while it's still practicing its lines in the mirror. This isn't paranoia or hypervigilance from trauma. It's supernatural intelligence forged in divine fire. The very experiences that once blindsided you have become your early warning system. What used to slip past your defenses now triggers immediate alerts in your consciousness. The enemy's entire strategy depended on surprise attacks and hidden agendas, but you can no longer be surprised because your spirit is constantly scanning frequencies they don't know you can perceive. If this message hits your spirit, hype this video so more chosen ones like you can find it. Because what I'm about to reveal about your new reality will transform how you see everything that happened to you. There was a moment, perhaps you remember it, perhaps it's buried in your subconscious, when absolutely everything hung in the balance. The enemy had pushed you to the absolute edge of human endurance. Every resource was depleted, every support system had failed, every reason to keep fighting had been systematically removed. This was their checkmate moment, the point where their calculations guaranteed your surrender. But something happened in that moment that sent shockwaves through every dimension of existence. Instead of collapse, there was an eruption of defiance so pure, so powerful, so unprecedented, that it literally changed the laws of physics in the spiritual realm. You didn't just refuse to quit. You declared war on the very concept of defeat. In your weakest moment, you became the most dangerous version of yourself that has ever existed. That declaration didn't just save you, it rewrote reality around you. The spiritual laws governing your existence shifted permanently. What once had legal access to your life lost its credentials instantly. What once could drain your energy found its connection severed forever. What once could manipulate your emotions discovered its frequency had been permanently jammed. Your survival has become their eternal haunting. The enemy doesn't just remember their failure, they're forced to relive it every time they consider attacking another chosen one. The confidence they once carried has been replaced by something they can't escape, the undeniable memory of their total humiliation. Every plot they invested in backfired spectacularly. Every alliance they formed crumbled. Every prediction they made was proven catastrophically wrong. Now they're left with the psychological torment of knowing that their best weapons were inadequate. Their perfect timing was off. Their foolproof strategy had a fatal flaw. They underestimated the God inside you. This haunting has paralyzed their ability to attack effectively. Even if they wanted to try again, the memory of their failure would sabotage their confidence before they could mobilize. They've become prisoners of their own defeat, trapped in the echo of your victory. Every time they see you thriving, it reminds them that their entire belief system about destroying chosen ones was wrong. You've become living proof that their propaganda is powerless against someone who refuses to believe it. The psychological warfare has completely reversed. Where once they tormented your mind with whispers of inadequacy, now your victory torments their consciousness with proof of their impotence. They wake up, if beings like that even sleep, remembering that their most coordinated attack failed against a single human who refused to accept their verdict. Your name has become their trigger word, causing system-wide panic in their ranks whenever it's mentioned. They've had to create support groups in hell to deal with the trauma of failing to break you. Imagine that. Demons in therapy because one chosen one wouldn't follow their script. The infrastructure they built specifically to destroy you has become a monument to their incompetence. All those resources, all that planning, all those coordinated attacks, and what do they have to show for it? Nothing but the echo of your laughter as you rise from ashes they guaranteed would be permanent. They're still trying to figure out where their calculations went wrong, running diagnostic after diagnostic on a system that can't comprehend faith that transcends formulas. Your survival has become their unsolvable equation, their permanent glitch, their recurring nightmare that plays on repeat every time they close their eyes. What you thought was your destruction was actually your coronation ceremony. The entire nightmare was heaven's way of forging a crown that no earthly or demonic force can ever remove. Every moment of agony was hammering authority into your spirit that can't be counterfeited. Every tear was tempering wisdom that can't be taught in comfort. Every betrayal was building discernment that can't be developed without deception. You're no longer in recovery mode, patching wounds and hoping for better days. You've crossed into revelation mode, where the full purpose of your suffering is being unveiled. The crown you now wear isn't made of gold or jewels. It's forged from authority that was tested at the highest level, wisdom that was distilled from impossibility, and power that was compressed from pain. This crown changes everything about how reality responds to your presence. Doors don't just open for you anymore. They recognize your approach and unlock themselves. Opportunities don't just appear. They seek you out like iron to a magnet. Resources don't just become available. They flow toward you as if you have gravitational pull. Your case file has been sealed in Heaven's Supreme Court, with a verdict that carries ultimate authority. Every tear you shed was entered as evidence. Every betrayal was documented with perfect accuracy. Every injustice was weighed on scales that never lie. When the gavel came down and your season was declared complete, that decision carried the full weight of divine law. No force in heaven, earth, or hell can overturn a ruling from the highest court in existence. The case against your peace is permanently closed with no possibility of appeal. The contracts that once bound you to suffering have been declared null and void retroactively. This means not only are they cancelled going forward, but it's as if they never existed. The enemy can't even reference them anymore because they've been expunged from the spiritual record. You now carry documentation that identifies you as untouchable in the spirit realm. Every entity that encounters you can see the seal of completion on your spirit, and they know exactly what it means. Further attacks would not only be futile but would trigger automatic retaliation from forces they can't defend against. The legal implications extend beyond just your personal protection. Your victory has set a precedent that affects every chosen one facing similar battles. Lawyers in Heaven's court system now reference your case when defending others. Your survival is cited as proof that certain types of suffering have limits, that certain attacks can be survived, that certain verdicts are final. You've become case law in the spiritual legal system, and your victory is being used to secure victories for people you'll never meet. But here's the most powerful revelation about what just happened. Hell's entire subscription service to suffering hasn't just been cancelled for you. Your survival corrupted their entire business model. You see, they operate on predictable patterns, reliable formulas, and proven methods of destruction. Your refusal to break according to their calculations has created doubt in their entire system. Other chosen ones around the world are suddenly discovering that the patterns which destroyed their ancestors no longer work. The curses are glitching. The generational debts are being mysteriously cancelled. The cycles are failing to regenerate. Your victory created a ripple effect that's still expanding across dimensions. Every time another chosen one refuses to break under pressure, designed to break them, they're benefiting from the precedent you established. You didn't just save yourself. You became a system update for the entire chosen one network. You're the software patch that fixed a vulnerability the enemy had been exploiting for generations. Hell is literally filing for spiritual bankruptcy because their primary revenue source, broken chosen ones, is drying up faster than they can develop new strategies. You were never meant to be a customer in Hell's subscription service. You were always destined to be the virus that would corrupt their programming from within. You were the Trojan horse they invited into their system, thinking you were another victim. Instead, you were the malware that would expose every weakness in their infrastructure. Your survival has given Heaven's hackers the access codes to shut down strongholds that have existed for centuries. The landslide nature of your victory needs to be understood properly. This wasn't a narrow escape or a lucky break. While you thought you were barely surviving by a thread, Heaven was orchestrating a comprehensive victory that would be so complete, so overwhelming, that it could never be questioned or reversed. Every prayer you whispered in desperation was activating angelic reinforcements. Every tear you shed in isolation was authorizing divine intervention protocols. Every moment you felt abandoned, the presence of the divine was so close it was literally breathing through your lungs. The enemy was measuring your bank account, counting your remaining relationships, monitoring your health metrics, and calculating that victory was theirs. But they were reading the wrong dashboard. Your true battle was happening in realms where their surveillance couldn't penetrate. While they were destroying your visible life, Heaven was constructing an indestructible foundation in invisible dimensions. The landslide wasn't sudden. It was the culmination of accumulated victories in the unseen realm, finally manifesting in physical reality. Your survival has recalibrated reality itself around your presence. The spiritual atmosphere you now carry is so dense with authority that lesser forces lose their molecular structure in your vicinity. Deception becomes uncomfortable in your presence. Manipulation loses its power when you're in the room. Toxic people suddenly remember urgent appointments when you arrive. This isn't something you have to consciously maintain. It's the automatic result of your frequency upgrade. Your very existence has become a walking contradiction to every limitation the enemy claimed was permanent. People notice this shift even when they can't articulate what's different. They sense you're operating from a place of authority they don't recognize but instinctively respect. You carry a weight that commands attention without demanding it. Your presence alone stabilizes chaos in other people's circumstances. Without trying, you've become a walking breakthrough generator. Your testimony doesn't just inspire others. It literally transfers breakthrough anointing to their situations. The multiplication effect of your victory is still calculating. Every person who hears your story and believes becomes a carrier of the same breakthrough frequency. Your survival didn't just save you, it activated a chain reaction of salvation that's spreading faster than darkness can contain it. The enemy's worst nightmare is manifesting. One chosen one who refused to break has become the catalyst for thousands of others discovering they're unbreakable too. Your authority has shifted from defensive to offensive. You're no longer just protected from attacks. You've become the attack against systems of oppression. Your presence dismantles strongholds without you even being aware of it. Your story dissolves generational curses in bloodlines you don't even know about. Your survival is literally rewriting the spiritual DNA of humanity's chosen ones. You've become a walking upgrade to the collective consciousness of divine warriors. The restoration that's beginning now isn't just giving back what was stolen, it's delivering what was always yours but was being held in escrow until you proved you could handle it. Every loss was actually a divine investment that's about to mature with interest calculated at heaven's rates. The years the locusts ate are being restored in accelerated time. What took years to lose is returning in days. What seemed permanently destroyed is being resurrected in forms more beautiful than the original. This restoration includes dimensions of your life you didn't even know were damaged. Potentials you forgot you had are being reactivated. Dreams you buried are resurrecting with divine CPR. Gifts that went dormant during survival mode are coming back online with enhanced features. You're not just getting your life back, you're getting the life that was always intended but required this trial to unlock. The suffering wasn't punishment. It was the complex combination to a vault that held treasures too valuable to access without proving you could guard them. Your body is experiencing upgrades at the cellular level that science can't explain. Every cell that was damaged by stress is being rebuilt with superior specifications. Your nervous system is being rewired from survival to revival. Your heart is learning rhythms of peace it's never known. Your mind is accessing frequencies of clarity that were scrambled during warfare. Your spirit is expanding into dimensions that were off limits during your trial. You're not just healing, you're evolving into a species of human that transcends normal limitations. The synchronicities you're about to experience will seem like magic to others, but are actually just reality responding to your new frequency. The right people will appear at the perfect moment. Resources will manifest from unexpected sources. Opportunities will align with supernatural timing. Doors that were welded shut will suddenly realize they were always meant to open for you. This isn't luck or coincidence. It's the universe course-correcting to acknowledge your true identity. The financial restoration coming your way includes back pay for every hour you suffered, overtime for every extra battle you fought, hazard pay for surviving what others couldn't, and bonuses for exceeding heaven's expectations. The universe keeps perfect books, and every penny that was withheld, every opportunity that was blocked, every resource that was diverted, has been accumulating in an account that's about to be released with compound interest. The enemy thought they were robbing you, but they were actually making deposits into your divine trust fund. Your love life is about to experience a plot twist that romantic movies couldn't script. The relationships that left, the ones that betrayed, the connections that failed, they were all removing themselves from a position they weren't qualified to hold. Someone is being prepared right now who can match your new frequency, who can handle your upgraded authority, who can complement your divine assignment. The wait wasn't rejection. It was divine protection from connections that would have limited your destiny. Your health is recovering in ways that will require new medical terminology. Conditions that were labeled chronic are discovering they're actually temporary. Systems that were failing are finding new vitality. Energy that was depleted is returning with surplus. Your body is remembering its original blueprint. The one encoded before trauma rewrote your cellular expectations. Healing isn't just removing disease, it's restoring your body to its intended glory. The creative gifts that were suppressed during survival are about to explode with expression. Words you couldn't find are flowing like rivers. Visions you couldn't see are appearing in high definition. Songs you couldn't hear are playing in perfect pitch. Art you couldn't create is manifesting through your hands. The trial didn't destroy your creativity. It was fermenting it, aging it, preparing it to be released with a potency that will intoxicate everyone who experiences it. Your spiritual gifts have been upgraded from analog to quantum. What used to take effort now happens automatically. What used to be unclear is now high definition. What used to be occasional is now consistent. You've graduated from spiritual elementary school straight to doctoral level authority. The gifts aren't new. They were always there, but they needed the pressure of your trial to activate fully. Now they're online and operating at capacity that surprises even heaven. The impact of your story is still being calculated in heaven's accounting department. Every tear you shed watered seeds in other people's destinies. Every battle you fought cleared pathways for others to walk. Every victory you claimed became available for others to access. Your survival has literally made certain types of suffering obsolete. Battles that used to be inevitable are now optional. Victories that used to be impossible are now probable. You've changed the odds for every chosen one who comes after you. Your name has been written in Heaven's Hall of Fame, but more importantly, it's been removed from Hell's hit list. You're no longer a target, because you've become untouchable. The immunity you've earned isn't temporary or conditional. It's permanent and comprehensive. What could once harm you now strengthens you. What could once stop you now propels you forward. What could once defeat you now becomes fuel for your victory, fire. The enemy's intelligence network has sent out a universal memo about you. Do not engage. This one has been marked by the Most High. This one carries immunity that triggers automatic retaliation. This one has survived the unsurvivable and become something we don't have categories for. Your file has been moved from active targets to permanent examples of failure. You've become the case study they use to teach their forces about the dangers of underestimating chosen ones. Meanwhile, Heaven's network has also sent out a memo. All restrictions lifted, all resources authorized, all backup approved. This one has proven faithful beyond measurement. This one can be trusted with the impossible. This one carries a breakthrough for multitudes. Angels have been assigned specifically to your success. Not just protection angels, but prosperity angels, connection angels, acceleration angels, multiplication angels. You've got a full celestial staff working on your behalf. The dreams you had to pause during survival mode are about to resume with supernatural acceleration. The time you lost will be recovered through divine time manipulation. What should take years will happen in months. What should take months will happen in weeks. What should take weeks will happen in days. You're entering a season where heaven's clock operates differently than Earth's calendar. You're about to experience the kind of rapid manifestation that makes people ask, how did that happen so fast? Your influence is expanding beyond your physical reach. Your story is traveling through spiritual airways to places you've never been. People you've never met are being impacted by your breakthrough. Your victory is being celebrated in dimensions you don't know exist. You've become famous in realms you can't see. Your name carries weight in councils you're not aware of. Decisions are being made in your favor by authorities you haven't met. The quantum entanglement of your breakthrough means that every chosen one who connects with your story gets automatically updated with your victory codes. It's like spiritual software sharing, where your breakthrough becomes downloadable content for others facing impossible odds. Prayer warriors in different time zones are receiving strategies from battles you've already won. Intercessors are getting intelligence reports from territories you've already conquered. Your victory has become open source code for defeating darkness, and it's being implemented in spiritual battles across every continent. The angelic realm has created a special task force dedicated solely to studying your case. They're analyzing how you survived what their models said was impossible. Your resistance strategies are being taught in heaven's military academies. Your endurance threshold has become the new standard for measuring human capacity under divine grace. Angels who thought they understood human limitations are having to rewrite their manuals because you proved their assumptions wrong. You didn't just impress heaven, you educated it about what's possible when humans align perfectly with divine purpose. The next chapter of your life has already been written, and it's nothing like the chapter you just survived. Where that chapter was about endurance, this chapter is about enjoyment. Where that chapter was about survival, this chapter is about revival. Where that chapter was about testing, this chapter is about testimony. Where that chapter was about breaking, this chapter is about breakthrough. The pen that wrote your suffering has been taken away from the enemy and given to heaven's best storytellers. But let me tell you about the ripple effect your survival has created in bloodlines you don't even know are connected to yours. When you broke that generational curse, you didn't just free your direct lineage, you freed cousin branches, distant relatives, and spiritual bloodlines that share your frequency. People you've never met are suddenly breaking free from patterns they thought were permanent. Addictions are losing their grip. Cycles of poverty are mysteriously ending. Patterns of broken relationships are healing. All because one chosen one, you, stood at the intersection of generational highways and redirected traffic away from destruction. Your DNA has literally been upgraded to broadcast breakthroughs. Scientists would call it impossible, but your genetic code now carries frequencies that activate healing in others just by proximity. When you walk into a room, dormant gifts in other people wake up. When you speak, chains in other souls start cracking. When you smile, hope that was buried under years of disappointment resurrects. You've become a walking defibrillator for dead dreams, shocking them back to life with the electricity of your testimony. Now let me put you onto something real. Destiny Engine. I built this because I was done watching chosen ones get dragged through betrayal, isolation, and attacks while their enemies strutted around unchecked. I want to help you accelerate the speed of your divine justice and step fully into your purpose, and the beauty of it, you don't even have to lift a finger. Destiny Engine takes their downfall and flips it into your rise. This isn't another meditation app. It's declassified consciousness technology, the same mind programming tools your enemies once used to install fear, competition, and scarcity, re-engineered to restore your sovereignty and align you with the cooperative, upgraded operating framework. It generates personalized sequences mapped to your divine purpose. The hardest thing you'll do is put on headphones, press play, and watch your enemies keep digging their own grave. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and turn everything they did to break you into fuel for your rise. Link in the description. Chosen One, the congratulations you're receiving aren't just for surviving. They're for completing an assignment that rewrote the rules of spiritual warfare. You were selected to prove that hell's best weapons could be survived, that generational curses could be broken by one person's refusal to comply, that systematic destruction could be overcome by systematic faith. You didn't just pass the test. You destroyed the test and proved it was built on false assumptions about human capacity. The never again promise isn't wishful thinking. It's mathematical certainty based on spiritual law. You've graduated from the University of Suffering with credentials that exempt you from repeat courses. The lessons have been learned. The tests have been passed. The certification has been earned. There's no spiritual legal precedent for making someone repeat what they've already conquered. The universe doesn't require encore performances of miracles already documented. Your new reality operates on different physics entirely. Where the old reality said suffering was inevitable, the new reality says victory is guaranteed. Where the old reality said cycles would repeat, the new reality says patterns are permanently broken. Where the old reality said you were vulnerable, the new reality says you're invincible. These aren't motivational statements, they're legal facts in the spiritual realm, documented, sealed, and enforced by authorities that outrank any force that could oppose you. The celebration in heaven continues because your victory keeps revealing new implications. Every day uncovers another system that has to be recalibrated because of your survival. Every moment reveals another chosen one who broke free because you proved it was possible. Every breath you take in freedom announces to the universe that what was once considered impossible is now standard operating procedure for chosen ones who refuse to quit. It's done. Completely, irreversibly, eternally done. The trial is over. The verdict is final. The sentence has been served. The debt has been paid. The cycle has been broken. The curse has been reversed. The pattern has been shattered. The stronghold has been demolished. The assignment has been completed. The test has been passed, the crown has been earned, the authority has been established, the immunity has been activated, the breakthrough has been secured. You will never have to go through that again, not because you hope so, but because heaven has decreed it, not because you wish it, but because it's been written in laws that can't be edited, not because you're lucky, but because you've been marked as complete. The subscription to hell has been cancelled, and you've been upgraded to heaven's premium membership, with benefits that never expire, and authority that only increases. Congratulations, chosen one. You survived the unsurvivable. You broke the unbreakable cycle. You defeated the undefeatable system. You proved that hell's greatest hits are actually heaven's greatest setups for comebacks that rewrite history. The war is over. You won. You won. And your victory will echo through eternity, reminding every force in existence that chosen ones don't break. We transform. We transcend. We triumph. And once we've won, we never have to fight that battle